So in the last class we concluded the study of the fifth Anuvaka, which described Shiva as Mahimavantaha. That means one who is full of glory. Not only that, all the glories actually belongs to Shiva. So that was the conclusion of the fifth Anuvaka. Now we will enter into the sixth Anuvaka, Jaishtyan Chame, etc. So in the sixth Anuvaka, we are going to discover that Shiva is Sarvantaryami. That means the indweller of everything in the creation. If you look at this, there are 15 mantras in this Anuvaka, and there is only one Namaskara Shabda. So it starts with the Namaha and then continues Namo Jyeshthaya cha, etc. So first mantra is Namo Jyeshthaya cha Kanishthaya cha. So the word meaning is Jyeshtha, elder, senior, and then Kanishtha, younger, junior. So that is the word meaning. But what is the Jyeshthatvam? That is the characteristic of an elder that we are looking at here. It is an entity which is the highest in terms of first knowledge. Because from the time immemorial, we have given value only for knowledge. Those who are older in age, they do deserve respect, but at the same time, they may not deserve your reverence. So there is a difference between respecting somebody and having a reverence for somebody. You get a reverence for somebody only if they are exalted in knowledge. Otherwise, the due respect is given because of the age. So, the society, because of the economic conditions, we also respect the wealthy. And what kind of wealthy people the society honors? Only those wealthy people who are philanthropic in nature, they get the Jyeshthatvam. Then, in the ashrama system, there is also a hierarchy of Jyeshthatvam and Kanishtatvam. Kanishtatvam is, that is the youngest, are the students who have just now entered into their school, into their study. At that point of time, we take enormous care for them, to groom them. That is why we also say Namo Kanishtaya. So Namo Jyesthaya, for a person who is in the householder, will get more honor than who is in a child. A Vanaprastha, that is who is dedicated to Yajna Dana Tapas, for such a person you honor more than an ordinary householder. And above that, a true sannyasi. I have to qualify, unfortunately, because of the changing times. So a true sannyasi and is all Jyeshtha. Now, philosophically speaking, because Rudradhyaya is also, as I mentioned, is called Rudropanishad. It is an Upanishad, it is a Vedanta set of mantras. The innermost being called Pratyagatman is Jyeshtha. So, for those of you who may not know the technical term Pratyagatman, how do you understand this Pratyagatman? There is the Parabrahma Vastu, the absolute Brahman. When this absolute Brahman comes into contact with the Shuddha Sattva means pure Sattva Guna only, which is untainted by even a trace of Rajas and Tamas. When that combination is there, what do we mean by that? That means, since the Sattva Guna characteristic is pure Prakashaha or just luminosity, just illumination, and since no Rajas and Tamas is there, Paramatma in combination with pure Shuddha Sattva Guna, which is also the Trigunatmika Maya, as the Upadhi or the superimposition, that combination is called Ishvara. So what is the definition of Ishvara? Parabrahman plus Maya as a superimposition is called Ishvara. Now, this Paramatma because of the contact with avidya. What is avidya? Avidya is the ignorance that I am actually Chaitanya Swarupa because of the superimposition or upadhi of Deha Indriya, but there is a high degree of sattva. That means in the proportion of sattva, rajas and tamas, the highest degree is sattva, then that without the contact with sense organs, without the contact with sense objects or the world is called jiva. It is also called as pratyagatman. So pratyagatman is chaitanya plus sattva guna pradhana avidya. Avidya here is not ignorance, it just means it is a microcosm. So that combination is kanishta. So what is Jyeshtha? Jyeshtha is Ishvara. Kanistha is Pratyagatman or the individual Pratyagatma Kanistha. So this is how we have to understand Jyesthaya cha Kanishthaya cha. Unfortunately, most of the books will just translate he is the elder of all, he is the younger of all. So, when the jiva, the individual, is deluded by samsara, by the flux of the world, then the Sakshi Chaitanya, that means the pure consciousness, what it does is, it acquires what is known as Asura Swabhava. What is Asura Swabhava? It is Dehatma Buddhi, which means that my body is the Atman. When that confusion happens, the Sakshi, which I defined in the last class, the Sakshi will become Kanishta. So this is how Jyesthaya cha Kanishthaya cha. In very simple terms, yes, Sthita Prajna is a Jyeshtha. Very simple terms. Now, why is it that we are looking at even the Kanishta as the manifestation of Ishvara? Because this Kanishta is not a Rakshasa. It is just as confused with his body and saying that this body is I. That's all. But he is a good man. He is a very, because Sattva-guna Pradhana. But since his Ajnana is there, he is subject to Dukkha, Shoka, Moha. And therefore he is Kanishta. But he is a man, person, human being with lot of hope. All that the person needs is Guru Shastra. Once when the contact with Guru Shastra happens, this Kanishta will become Jyeshtha. Then, Namaha Purvajaya Aparajaya cha. Purvaja means born before. Aparaja means born after. So that means in the earlier mantra, they said Jyeshtha Kanishta, and now they are using another terminology saying Purvaja Aparaja. Really, if you look at the meaning, there is no difference. Isn't it? Jyeshtha means elder, Kanishta means younger, Purvaja means born before, so elder. So why this scripture again talks of Purvaja Aparaja? Again, we have got to come back to the Vedanta interpretation for this sentence also. So, in Jyeshtha, Ishvara becomes relevant and recognizable because creation has happened already. Isn't it? But Purvaja is even before creation. Before creation. Creation is Jata, is created. What is Purva? Purve Jatam. That is created before. Question. What was created before? Hiranyagarbha, or the pure Sukshma Prapancha, is the one that came in first. Isn't it? That Sukshma Prapancha is called Hiranyagarbha. Therefore, Hiranyagarbha is the Purvaja. So if Hiranyagarbha is the Purvaja, after Hiranyagarbha's formation, how was Hiranyagarbha formed? It is because of the coming together of Purusha and Prakriti, taking Sankhya viewpoint into account, Purusha and Prakriti. So the Mahat Ahankara has been formed. This Mahat Ahankara is the Purvajaha. And this Purvajaha, which is Mahat Ahankara, now will give rise to the entire world. You have the five elements, you have the Tanmatras, that means the subtle elements are there. The relationship between the macrocosm and the microcosm takes place by means of Shabda, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, Sparsha. And then the microcosm is formed. And then Manas, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara, the Antakarana is formed. So the world goes on. So the world will be going on for a given period of time, and Aparaja here is the Kalagni, which will completely withdraw the creation. So Jyeshtha is Ishvara, Kanishtha is Pratyagatman, therefore they are within the creation. Purvaja, before the creation took place, Hiranyagarbha, Aparaja, Kalagni, which remains after the creation is withdrawn. Therefore, Kalagni Kalaya. What is the Kala after Kalagni? Kala, because Kala is not there, isn't it? So Kalagni Kala is Aparaja. It's very hidden meaning. We have to tease it out of it, taking the context of the mantras. Then we can also interpret this in the context of the jiva also, because before a jiva takes a body, it is purvaja. After the jiva drops the body, it can be aparaja. So that also is an acceptable interpretation. Now, what about the intermediate avasthas? Say, for example, Jagrad avastha is purvaja for Sapnavastha. Sapnavastha is purvaja for Sushupti. Then Sushupti becomes purvaja for Jagrat. So that also is easy. It is important in view of the next mantra, Namo Madhyamaya Cha. So now, for example, in the Jyeshtha and Kanishta, we have parsed those words. Purvaja, Aparaja, we have parsed those words. Then you may say that, okay, the creation is over, now there is no Shiva anymore. But Shiva is still there in Madhyamaya Cha, because in Madhyamaya Cha, he is the one who is making us transit from one stage to another stage. Otherwise, how can we logically define the Shadvikaras, the six changes that happens? There must be some catalyst, some force which is pushing one state to become the another state. And therefore he is Madhyamaya Cha. Now, Madhyama also refers to all the creation that happens from the first creation, Hiranyagarbha becoming manifest, to Kalagni, completely destroying the manifestation. In between the Madhyamas are Deva, Manushya, Gandharva, Yaksha, Kinnara, Pishacha, and then all the Tiryak Jantus, all the insects, all the vegetation, and Sthavaras also. Sthavara means the inert objects also. All of them are all Madhyamas. So what about Apagalbha? Apagalbha literally means a child with all the limbs not developed fully. Not developed fully means, please don't think it is a deformed child. It's not a deformed child. It's a fully formed child, but the limbs are not strong enough to be an adult yet. Like a child, baby, a boy, a girl. So they are all apagalbhas. So what do you glean from all this? from both of these mantras, Shiva is the cause and he is also the effect. That's why he is Karya and Karana. Not only that, Shiva is also the process by which the cause becomes an effect. And how the effect is absorbed back into the primal cause. All this is in this thread. So therefore, what do we conclude? Because every cause results in an effect. And every effect becomes a cause for the next effect. So there is a sequence of cause and effect going on, and in all these things the substrate is being Shiva. So can we say he is the cause of causes? Can we now extend this and say he is the uncaused cause of all causes? So therefore this mantra is conveying to us that the glory and the power of Ishvara is as an uncaused cause of all causes, causes all effects. Some play on the words. He causes all these efforts, and why does he do all these things? What is the purpose of doing all these things? So that those who meditate upon him in this way, that this is how he is Jeshta, Kanishta, Puraja, Aparaja, Madhyama, Apagalbha. For him, he will emulate Shiva and then take to Nishkama Sattvika Karma. And by taking to Nishkama Sattvika Karma, he will become free from the bondage of karma. So therefore, appropriate times, each one of us will have to become a Jeshta, will have to become a Kanishta, a Purvaja, an Aparaja, a Madhyama, and an Apagalva. When we follow that template, then we become the causeless cause for all effects. And therefore, that karma is Ishvara's karma, which is Sattvika karma. Since Ishvara, because of his Sattvika karma, has no karma bandha, the Jiva also will have no karma bandha, even though all the time you are active. This is exactly what Krishna meant when he said, Nanavaptamavaptavyam Trishu Lokeshu Kinchana. There is nothing that I cannot attain or I have to attain in all the three worlds. But still he is constantly active, because he knows exactly when to become a Jeshta, when to become a Kanishta, etc. All this is going to create a bhakti and shraddha for Ishvara. Because the problem of all philosophical thinking is that it will somehow has an effect of making us lose our devotion. Somehow study of Vedanta turns people off from devotion. That will happen only when we understand this whole process. And this was epitomized by, again, one of my most favorite, extremely favorite authors, Shivamahimna Stotra of Pushpadanta. Here is a verse. Kratau supte jagrat tvamasi phala yoge kratumatam kwa karma pradhastam phalati purusharadhanamrite atastvam samprekshya kratushu phaladana pratibhuvam shrutau shraddha badhva dridhaparikara karmasu janaha. Pushpadanta's Sanskrit is a little tough Sanskrit, so we got to really study it very closely. Verse number 20, those of you who would like to look at this. Kratau supte. Kratau supte. Kratau. Kratau supte. Kratu means yajna. Supti means sleeping. So after the yajna sleeps. So what do we mean by that? That means at the conclusion of your yajna, Once the yajna is concluded, what do? You do the visarjana and go for Mahaprasada. Isn't it? But somebody is awake. Who is that? Tvam Jagrata Asi. You, hey Shiva, you are awake. Whereas everybody has forgotten about the yajna, you are awake. Why are you awake? Kratumatam, to those who are worshipping you, Phalayoge, to reward. So he will be waiting till you finish your worship. As soon as your worship is over, he becomes alert and say, oh, now it is time for me to bless this devotee. Then a question arises here. When was the karma performed? In the past, isn't it? Even if it is 1 minute after the yajna is over, visarjana is over, it is the past. So how can there be a benefit of a work done in the past? How do you reconcile this? Ask the question. Karma pradhastam. After the work is done, phalaha kwa. How can there be a fruit? You must have heard of the famous statement. Upadhyayascha vaidyascha karyante aprayojakaha. Upadhyaya, those who teach us, and vaidyascha, the doctor, as soon as my work is over, I have no use for them. Is that how Shiva would actually look at everything? The answer is no, because rite purushartham. Rita means the cosmic law. When a person worships the Paramapurusha, other people may forget what we have done, because I'm always, this is where we face this in our work every day, isn't it? What have you done for me today? All the skills that you have acquired so far is useless because you are not competent to do what you have got to do today. Therefore, even if you have served me for the last 25 years, you are out of here. Is Ishvara like that? For that, the answer is Kratushu phaladana pratibhavam tvam samprekshya. All the devotees will look at you. How before, during the worship, and after the worship, you have not abandoned the devotee. Even though the yajna is over, and you are done with visarjana, isn't it? Wherever you have come, you go back. We say that mantra also. Wherever you have come, you go. Still, he doesn't go away. He stays back and then actually blesses, and he will give you the purushartha you ask for. And this is observed by all the devotees. Because what have we found? Every time we do puja, every time we do yajna, every time we pray, either for ourselves or for others, have we not been successful? We have been successful more often than not. How did that success happen? It is because you were alert to what I have done. So you constantly observe this prayer outcome relationship. Every devotee has observed. For having observed, what happens is Shrutau Shraddham Badhva. People will get total faith and dedication in Vedic word. That again another proof how Veda can become a pramana. Veda becomes a pramana because anyone who studies and lives in the Vedic way will never be disappointed. Nahi kaschit durgatim tata gacchati. Nahi kaschit, whoever is kalyanakrita, who does all that is auspicious, durgatim tata gacchati, Gita, will ever perish. And that is assured by Shiva by being Jyeshta, Kanishta, Madhyama, Apagalbha. Purvaja, Avaraja, in all these things, and therefore Janaha Karmasu Dridha Parikaraha. People get more and more committed to do Satkarma. So when our rituals transform to this quality, then what happens? As Jeshta, Kanishta, Purvaja, Paraja, Madhyama, Pagalba, he will be always with us. Constantly he will be with us and he will be guiding continuously and never let us down. So that is the essence of these first three mantras.